The road to Congress can be difficult, and expecting its members to play by the rules, that's just naive thinking. There was much to be learned by one former lawmaker who followed that path and realized that the lessons learned are actually relevant to all of us as we reach difficult crossroads in our own lives. Her new book is called A Life Made from Scratch: Lessons from a Controversial Congresswoman, Mompreneur, and Unstoppable Political Activist. Former Illinois Congresswoman, now entrepreneur and author Marie Newman joins us here in our WGN studios. Congratulations on the book.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to be here.
And taking the past and turning it into learning lessons for yourself and others, important. Right. So let me start by asking, because as I read the book cover to cover, it is part self-help. Yeah. But then part of it, of course, is also your memoir. So I'm sort of curious, what led you to say, I want to take what I've been through and share these lessons with others? Was it when you were the private citizen? Was it post-Congress? How did that happen?
Merger of both. So at the end of my time in Congress, literally those last couple of months, a few publishers came to me and said, hey, I think your story is very interesting, to which I said, I don't think I'd read that book. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not that interested. And
you lived it.
Right, I know. It's like, I'm not sure I want to write it. So my team really encouraged me that you've had some very unique experiences on your way to Congress and then after. So you should share these things. And a lot of it has to do with making things from scratch.
Of course, when you entered Congress, it wasn't exactly the quietest of times. People may forget, like this term you had, let's start at the beginning of it. You entered to the January 6th, 2021 situation.
Day 3.
Greeted by those events. And so what advice do you have? I want to sort of demonstrate how your life experiences translate to us. What advice did you have of dealing with that emergency in the moment, which you write a lot about, and how does that translate to our lives as we deal with our own emergencies?
Right, and everybody's had this. This is not unique. Everybody's had a very dramatic experience in their life. And I wrote it down because it's funny, in the moment, you don't really quite ingest that you're in that level of tumult. So in fact, it's a very visceral, instinctual thing. And I think, I call it mama skills, right? In the highest of and scariest moments, your mama skills kick in and you become a leader. And I really leaned in hard to that.
In case the events of January 6th weren't enough, shortly after that, in your first term in Congress, it's impeachment time. And now you're having to address all of that. It's interesting, you write in the book, essentially, that that wasn't in the life plan. No. Not exactly what took you to Congress were to deal with those kinds of events. No. So talk about what advice you applied to yourself in dealing with those moments and what we can take out of it.
Right. I think those types of historic moments obviously are such great teachable moments, right? And what it really taught me was additional critical thinking. Certainly, I had been a CEO before that and a business analyst and a nonprofit leader, a marketing executive, all of those things. But critical thinking in a different way and then add in the stress of it really refined how I go through that process and is indelible now. And I think anybody that goes through that has that same lesson.
You wrote in the book that you used to work, maybe I'm sure you still do, but you work 17 hours a day. I'm sure that was no exaggeration because I understand that. But that being said, there might be a lot of viewers who are watching and said, well, good for you, I work 17 hours a day and I hate what I do. You talked about loving what you do. So what advice do you have for people who work as hard as you have, but don't like what they're doing?
Yeah. I've been in that spot too. I've been in both the places where I absolutely love my job 17 hours a day and that I've been working 3 jobs. When I was in my 20s, I worked 3 jobs and didn't have health care, and I didn't enjoy that at all. So I am with you, like I get that. But I did have a life plan, right? And that's why partly I wrote this too, is that there's one thing I'm good at, is I'm good at a plan, right? I can build a plan from literally nothing or from scratch. And that's why I wrote this, is that you can be not in love with your life and planning for a better life.
So we've got the insurrection, we have the impeachment, and you write a lot in this book about bullies and getting bullied. And now only 2 months into the job, you, I guess, come into contact, if you will, with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Not a big fan of yours, probably mutual. But talk about that relationship, what happened, and the advice you took out of it for folks who say, you know what, I've got the Marjorie Taylor Greenes in my life too.
Right, right. Well, I always say God has an amazing sense of humor with me, right? So of the 435 members of Congress, God chose to put me, a former anti-bullying expert, across from the biggest bully in Congress, right, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And it was almost comical. On the day that we were going to pass the Equality Act, she did something so obnoxious that I felt like we had to respond to it. And it was as simple as putting my trans flag outside my office. You're allowed to have a couple of flags, and that was one of my flags. And that really sent her over the edge.
Did she come and remove it?
No, she tried to, but she got in trouble for that. And then she put up a sign that says there's only two genders, and all of this very bigoted language. And then she stretched that out like crazy. Well, the media did too, let's be honest. They like the sizzle of it. And I said, I'm done, because with all bullies, what you should do is identify they have crossed a line and they're not going to get away with this. I'm going to be loud and clear and tell everyone you're a bully now. And then I'm moving on, because I've said what I wanted to say, and that I was clear with her. But unfortunately, she wanted to drag it out and kept doing all kinds of crazy things, and the media loved that. So.
Well, I was going to say, and what you just said, it's not about fixing, so to speak, the bully. You weren't going to change her,
No.
but that's not your advice about dealing with bullies. It's about yourself.
You just need to let them know. Like, you can ignore something, that's conventional wisdom, but the real wisdom is in knowing when to address them and let them know you've crossed a line. It's not happening anymore. You are done. We are done here.
Part of my intro to you, I made a comment about going to Washington thinking people would play by the rules. How naive is that? And I'll tell you what led to that in terms of my writing that in the intro, which was you write you write about the account of your drafting a postal bill. Mm-hmm. And part of drafting that postal bill was to go to somebody who was responsible for that issue. You tell the story, but boy, that's a way. Even as I read it, I'm like, well, that ain't good.
Yeah, no, I think I say it exactly this way. The knives came out pretty early when it comes to. I will tell you. I'll tell you a quick story about kind of some of the mentality, and it does break my heart, because there are just hundreds of brilliant people in Congress, kind, smart, highly scholared, all of those things, but there are some that are always interested in publicity and have a large ego. And so that is where that led to, is that.
But the message that came, because it involved gaslighting.
Yeah.
It involved manipulation, right? Mm-hmm. And so you learned from that.
Oh,
How do we all learn from that?
Oh, I learned early that you have to have a whole separate glossary in Congress of when people say or agree to something, what that really means, because it doesn't always mean that they're agreeing with you. So it was and there was gaslighting involved. You
say we all need a mentor for success. Who was your mentor, and what's the right person to be someone's mentor?
I've had many mentors. So in the marketing and advertising business, I had several mentors that were bosses of mine.
In politics, though?
Yeah, in politics, I would say it was a huge group of people mentored me in different spaces. And so I really appreciated all of that. And there are just some really very knowledgeable folks in Congress that are there for a real reason, and it's public service.
I also want to, before we run out of time, you write about the tough moments in your career, especially the redistricting efforts that kind of forced you between districts, choosing the path you're going to go. It was a race you ultimately lost in a re-election, but you write on page 154, ultimately it provided an escape hatch out of a business I was not suited for. Things happen for a reason. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm vehemently against bullying and gaslighting and manipulation and lying, right? And so a lot of that happened to me. And what I realized is that I'm not going to change them, so I can only change me. So I'm going to keep being authentic, honest, and tell the truth, and working for the people, but I'll do it in a different way.
It looks like you've left politics for right now. What is the next step for you in terms of business? And do you look ahead and say, I want to go back?
So I still am a strong activist. I do a lot of work. In fact, I'm working with a lot of the indivisible groups. I've been doing a lot of town halls to let folks know that in activism, these things work and these things don't work. And here's a shortcut for you. And here's what you need to do with Congress. So that's been very powerful and very fulfilled by that. I work in Medicare and Medicaid support systems that, as you know, our systems leave folks short, and we're trying to fill in those gaps with a couple of companies. And then I'm also working with the National Coalition on some projects around 2026 and 2028.
All right. Well, every chapter in the book has lessons from it, specific tips. 15 or so chapters in this book. Everyone has its own lessons. It's called A Life Made from Scratch. It is out now. It is available now. So again, that book, Lessons from a Controversial Congresswoman, a Mompreneur, and Unstoppable Political Activist. You can get your copy now. Thank you, Marie. Congratulations and good luck to you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're back with more WGN TV Political Report in a moment. Stay with us.